Hey there folks, so the ad you just saw, I produced in just a couple of hours for about $50 in AI credits. What would something like this have cost in the past? Hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions of dollars. Models, location fees, equipment rental, directors of photography, editors, hotels. It's a brave new world. My name is Dennis Drenner. I run a business called Smart Raven AI. I do practical AI systems for small businesses, and before that I was a professional photographer in the Washington, D.C. area. I worked in 65 countries, photographed presidents, told Joe Biden to change his shirt once, got bled on by camels, manhandled by Stevie Wonders, bodyguards, all sorts of adventures. What I'll be showing you today is a real job I did for a client called Warthog Films up in New York City. It's an agency that specializes in AI-produced video content, and they asked me to do a fashion luxury style ad that they can use to show their clients and promote their services and hopefully get more of this kind of work. What I'm going to do today is run through the whole process with you that I used to make this video in just a couple hours. Just going to show you the whole thing, and at the end I'm going to share a skill with you so that you can build the system in your own home Claude setup, and also include a PDF that outlines the whole process. The first thing I want to talk about here are the tools. So this is just kind of an overview of my setup. So first, everything runs in Claude in VS Code. I don't use the VS Code app for this kind of thing because it's too hard to integrate with a bunch of different tools at once. I know it's a bit of a technical hassle for people, perhaps, to set up VS Code, but really you could figure it out in a couple of hours, and it gives you a great deal of extra power. So I have Claude here in VS Code, that's the orchestrator. And then there are some tools under the hood that my Claude has learned to use. We've got Python, basically scripts underneath everything, and there's different Python libraries like FFmpeg, which will do captions for you. It'll cut videos up. It'll do editing for you, so you can cut out, for example, pauses in your transcript. You've got YTDLP, which pulls reference clips for you. Again, you don't even really need to know about this stuff. Claude just kind of uses it behind the scenes. Now, really importantly, this is really the beating heart, is this service called fal.ai, and that is this site here. And what this is it's a site where you can buy some credits and you get an API key. And if you don't know what an API key is, it's basically just like a password. And it allows Claude to log into this site and use any number of models, video, image, audio models, voice models, and it'll produce content for you, but you don't need a subscription to Google, Gemini, for example, or anything like that. You can just buy what you need. It's a fantastic service. And here you can see this is the back end. I don't usually look at this, but I'm just showing you this here so you get an idea. These are requests that my Claude made to fal.ai, which it used when we were making the video. Another really important tool here is this thing called bunny.net, which I'm not logged into anymore, but this is basically a CDN, which stands for Content Delivery Network. This is basically let me see if let me find my project folder in here, because I got logged out. And luxury. Here we go. So here on bunny.net, basically it's a service that hosts my images basically for very cheap. And so this is all my websites and other projects. I put my images and video up here on bunny.net. So that makes it easy to store and access later. What other tool? Then there's Kling and VO3. Those are video models that I access through fal.ai, Nano Banana, which I referenced before, Bunny. So that's all the tools. Okay, so now let's get into the process. The first thing I do when I'm making a video like this is I see what's out there. So I basically just went to YouTube and searched luxury ads and beauty ads and things like that, and I just kind of looked through some stuff that I thought looked cool. For example, this Versace. Maybe I shouldn't show that for too long, I might get in trouble. But basically, I don't want to reinvent the wheel, so I just kind of look for ideas that are already out in the world, and then I'll just use those to get started, and then I'll put my own spin on things. So I find these YouTube videos that I like, and then I actually fed them all. I gave these URLs to my Claude instance, and I said, hey, analyze videos for me, and then pull some representative stills out of them. And so it did that. So for example, it pulled some watch type stills and some fashion type stills, just as something to get me started. Images are really cheap to make. They're less than a dime, and I'm a visual person, so I just like to start, just like, give me some pictures, then I can get some ideas cooking. And I put the images on my own little personal workspace that I've built here. This is, if you've heard of Higgsfield, this is sort of like Higgsfield, but I'd rather work with my own system that I can modify, and I don't have to pay anyone a subscription to use it. So our first step here is my system made a bunch of images based on those ads, right? So these are all still images here that we're looking at, the sailboat, the island, and it just gave me like maybe 10 images to start with, and then I iterated a couple times. I was like, okay, give me a close-up of the watch on the guy's hand, or initially it didn't give me this sailboat shot at sunset that I thought might be a nice closer. With the models, maybe something looked weird, or it gave me one model, I wanted 3 or 4, and so I eventually got to where I had like a good group of images I felt I could start with. Phase 1. Phase 2, now with my system here, I'll click a button down here that says use, and it'll basically move the image up into this top section, which basically puts the images in order, right? So I got a bunch of images, and I'm like, okay, let's put these in some sort of logical sequence that I think makes sense for my ad. And then once that's done, the next step is to start taking the images, and you always use the image as a base for your video. So I started making videos, and this is like, we're doing quick cuts, so I'm doing the minimum video length for the most part, which is 5 seconds for Kling, and we start making videos, right? So that's where sometimes things can go wrong, as in, for example, this video. Like, I didn't want that weird zoom. I basically wanted I think they call it a forced perspective shot, where the camera goes in, and you've seen it in movies, camera goes in, but the lens widens out. It's like a really cool effect. I couldn't get my AI to do it, and it misinterpreted that. So then I just went ahead and made I changed the prompt and got something that looked more normal. Here's another example. I asked the camera to zoom in on these islands, like in the commercial that I showed you earlier, and I got this. Nowhere did I say add Superman to my image. So we prompt it again, and then we get the proper video. This is completely normal. You get weird results from the AI models. I'm still trying to be more and more careful and get better with my prompting, but sometimes you just get a weird result. You will see that down in my system, I have a video prompt that I have my Claude generate, and I try to take a peek at it before I start generating, because these videos can cost a couple dollars a piece. So that adds up if you're making dumb looking videos that you can't use. And the next step in the process is just to make a rough cut. So once I get the images in the order that I want. Then I say, hey Claude, go ahead and stick these together for me, and it'll make a rough cut. And by the way, I'm looking at this site here. I'm looking at my little dashboard. But then when I want something done, I just talk to my Claude here. Go ahead and assemble a new rough cut, or make another version of image number 3, except add more sailboats. That's how I do it, right? So we've already done all this, so I'm not going to have Claude go ahead and make those. So here is a example of one of my initial rough cuts. Actually, that's not rough enough. Let's do the really early one. So this one's pretty, I mean, it's not a bad beginning, but you can see it holds on these shots for way too long. That video was going to be like a minute or a minute and a half long. So the process after this is basically to just cut and cut and cut until I'm really happy with a nice tight edit. And then the way I do this is I built this into my system here. As you see, I have edit notes, and I'll basically just go through for my whatever 25 shots here, and you'll see it like I put here, use the last 2 seconds, speed up 2 times, use the first 2 seconds, and basically I just tweak every shot and make it tighter or faster or pull out a weird section until I get my final nice looking video. And then at this point I'm gonna add music. I always had in the back of my mind that we're going to edit to a beat, like a lot of the fashion ads, and so then I had it make me some music. I would experiment with fal.ai as a music maker. Here's an example. So that's pretty cool. So I made some music, and then this is really cool. Claude can actually analyze the musical pattern and do an edit for you that's hitting the beat, that's like changing cuts on the beat. So you've made your edits and things are getting tight, and then it'll make little micro adjustments. So boom, boom. So it's cutting on the beat. And so then at that point, you basically are done. Or then you send it to your client and hope he or she doesn't tell you that this is garbage and never call me again. So let me see if I can find. So this is one of my final edits. So you can see how it's doing some cuts on the beat for me there. And that's basically it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and also look below in the video description. I'm going to include a link to the script and to the PDF so you can try this on your own. Good luck.